GB News analysis of the latest Home Office figures out today reveal that a pitiful amount of small boat migrants have been returned since Labour came to power. Of 62,000 small boat arrivals, only 2,800 have been deported. I'm joined now by GB News' Home and Security Editor, Mark White. Mark, this is a pitiful amount of deportations. Once again, I say it all the time on the show, is this proof the lunatics have taken over the asylum system?
Well, I think the thing to say about this, we got some more news that we can share with you in a deeper dive looking into these figures. There are graphs and charts abound, from the Home Office and from the Office for National Statistics when their 6-monthly immigration figures come out. And we can show you that actually, it's not just under Labour. This was exactly the same. In fact, you could argue even worse under the Conservatives. So far this year, 39,300 have crossed the English Channel. If we add that up since this crisis began back in 2018, a staggering 190,500 small boat migrants have arrived in that time. Over that same period, we can now confirm that 6,800 small boat migrants have been removed from the UK. When you add those figures together to look at a percentage that have been removed, it's even lower than 4.5%. It's 3.5% of that total that have arrived since 2018, 190,500, just 3.5%, 6,800 have been removed, both by the previous Conservative government and now a process of very, very modest removals continued under the Labour government. And it's become apparent to us why any time we have significant arrivals coming across the Channel, we go to the government for a comment. They always point us to the fact that they are removing 35,000. It's now gone up to just 50,000. They have removed 50,000 people with no right to be in this country. And we always say to them, how many of them are small boat migrants? Because it's our belief that the majority are visa overstayers, foreign national offenders and alike, and very few, a modest number, are small boat migrants. And now that's been borne out by what we've been able to find within the statistics here, that just 3.5% of those who've arrived since this crisis began way back in 2018 have been removed. And since Labour came to power with 62,600, let's be fair to them, have arrived since Sir Keir Starmer took office back in early July 2024. They have removed 2,800 of those people. 4.5% of those who've come in that time have been removed. Now, I should say the 2,800 may refer to people that came in an earlier period, but what we're doing here is giving you a comparison of the numbers who've arrived and the numbers who've been removed in that period. And it's very modest, clearly, to say the least.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 73% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 73% off ExpressVPN plus 4 extra months free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
Mark White, this is an astonishing failure of state. It's an astonishing failure to control our borders and a plague on all the houses of successive governments who've completely and utterly failed to control our borders. They've failed to protect the British public. They've failed to do their jobs. And it's an utter, shameful dereliction of duty. Let's be absolutely clear about this, Mark White. 190,500, that is the same size as Swindon. A Swindon of illegal immigrants. No idea who they are, what their criminal records are, if they're terrorists, if they're sex offenders, and a pitiful amount, 3.5% deported. Mark White, that says quite clearly, if you're a chancer from anywhere around the world, you've got a 96.5% chance of staying in Britain over the course of 7+ years in Britain, barely any chance of ever being deported. This is utterly, utterly shameful.
Yes, and it shows you the glacial pace of the removals process as well, because this government has been, very enthusiastic about telling people how quickly they are getting on top of the system of trying to determine whether someone has the right to be granted asylum or not, a system that they said was completely dysfunctional, not fit for purpose under the previous government. And if you look at the statistics purely on the face value of the number of grants that they are making, or the number of migrants they are turning down for asylum, they have done more than the Conservatives. They are dealing with these and processing them at a quicker rate. But what we're not told is the fact that just making a decision, an interim decision, is not the end of the process. And as we've seen from the beginning of this crisis, it's far from it. There is a very significant road to go with appeals that are often mounted in a vast majority of cases that don't just last weeks or months, but can span years. And then even if you get to the end of that exhaustive process, you're still in a situation, in it seems the vast majority of cases, where people are coming from countries that would be deemed to be unsafe if this was tried and tested in a court of law by the human rights groups, the human rights lawyers. And so many are just given what's called interim leave to remain until they can do something to try to sort this mess out. And as yet, we've got, very, very slow process, to say the very least, in this, given that it was 2018 that the small boats crisis first began to manifest itself. 190,000 have arrived since then, and only 3.5% of those right from that period of 2018 have been removed.
It's absolutely breathtaking. We thought the bad news today was a 13% increase in asylum hotel inmates. We thought the bad news was a 100-year record in those leaving the country, 693,000. They were mere tasters in this smorgasbord of failure. 3.5% deportation of illegal immigrants since 2018. It's absolutely incredible. Mark White and Tom Fredericks, thanks for going through that information for us. It's mind-blowing. Thank you very, very much indeed, Mark. Let's